They say the perfect crime does not exist, but a certain man from Japan dared to challenge this notion. It was December 10th, 1968, in the bustling city of Tokyo, when a bold thief decided to destroy expectations and was able to successfully nab 300 million yen from a bank. Almost half a century has passed, but the mystery still endures. And the question as to who managed to execute this big-time heist in the heart of Japan is still unknown. Today, join us on a journey where a tale of intrigue and deception left investigators and people worldwide. Japan was going through a period of rapid economic growth, social transformations, and changes in the political scene during the 1960s. World War II is over, and Japan is starting to recover from the devastation of the war. This was called the Japanese post-war economic miracle, which marked the beginning of Japan's emergence as a global economic power. Their GDP just grew until they finally became the second largest economy in the late 1960s. Changes were also happening in the country's socio-political landscape. Industrialization, technological advancements, and promotion of export-oriented industries are shaping the period of high economic growth. This brought about urbanization, consumer culture, and the adaptation of modernization and some Western influences. During this time, Japan was also making its way amidst the socio-cultural changes that was happening. The Western ideals being welcomed in the country inspired the youth to have more thoughts of freedom and individualism, and slowly move away from traditional values and norms. This gave birth to youth subcultures, like pop music phenomenon, as well as the student movement, which helped push political reform and social justice. But the positive effects go along with some negative ones. Amidst the economic growth and social shifts, there are still labor disputes, political protests, and even tensions with neighboring countries. Japan had to navigate through the US-Japan Security Treaty protests. The busy socio-political environment in Japan during the 1960s became the stage of the robbery that is about to shock the nation and will challenge people's beliefs in the existence of a perfect crime. Months prior to the heist that will shock the nation, the Japan Trust Bank manager was entangled in a web of fear and doubt. During the recent days, he was plagued with ominous threats arriving at his home, and the more he gets them, the more tense and scared he becomes. The threats are made from magazine clippings, and all these were demanding a staggering sum of 300 million yen, along with the threat of violence if he does not comply with the perpetrator's desires. The bank manager was obviously shaken and did the smartest thing. He notified the authorities, which helped heighten the vigilance within his community. But despite the presence of the police, there was still tension and fear. Just the thought of danger in his life was interfering with his job and daily life, and the bank employees as well as the locals in the area were always on the edge. However, the perpetrator did not stop despite the police interference. He even grew more brazen and gave an ultimatum: provide the 300 million yen, or face the consequences. The mounting dread in the bank manager's mind, as well as the populace, would be the perfect stage for the heist that is about to happen. And with the weight of the threats towards him becoming more heavy and imposing, he made the decision to send 4 of his employees to drop off a certain amount of money to a nearby Toshiba factory, not knowing the dangers that are waiting ahead of them. It was the morning of December 19, 1968, and a certain city in Tokyo was a bustling area filled with people leading their own busy lives. What people do not know is this date would mark one of Japan's most brazen heists. In Japan, companies award bonuses to their employees twice a year. The first bonus comes during the summer, either during June or July. The second bonus comes during the winter, which is close to the end of the year. This tradition has been going on ever since it began during Japan's Edo era. Bosses gave their employees summer bonuses for them to enjoy during the Bon Festival, and the winter bonuses were rewards for the year's hard work. That day, a Nissan Cedric sedan was carrying 294 million yen in cash, which is equivalent to $26 million today. It came from the Japan Trust Bank, and will be distributed as a bonus to the company's employees. Along with the money were 4 employees from the bank. Just days prior, their bank manager have been receiving various ominous threats, resulting in the demand for 300 million yen under the threat that his house will be blown up using dynamite. The perpetrator was audacious, and despite all the security measures, the bank employees driving the car to the Toshiba factory had all the reasons to be tense and scared. As they went through their way to their destination, while driving behind a prison, a police bike came to a stop and blocked their way. The driver of the car rolled down the window to ask the police officer why he blocked their path. This police officer apparently is carrying a really bad news. According to him, the branch manager's house had been blown up, and people were badly injured. The 4 employees were terrified, of course. The police were already called to ensure security around the area, but the perpetrator was still able to do it. What makes the situation worse is the fact that the car they are in is possibly being targeted as well, according to the officer on the police bike. The branch employees are now at risk, since they were sent out to carry out bank duties and are carrying a huge amount of money. The police officer said that the car they are using needs to be searched. The 4 bank employees did not take any chances and were more than willing to let the officer access the vehicle and inspect it. The man peered under the car, but before he could even complete the search, one of the employees noticed smoke coming from underneath the vehicle. Realizing the impending danger, the officer yelled that the car was going to blow, so they needed to run away to safety fast. The employees were terrified for their lives, so they ran away as fast as they could to get away from the car. The 4 employees, while hiding within prison walls, waited and waited for the explosion that was supposed to happen any time now. But there was no explosion. This aroused confusion and suspicion in them, so they went back to where they left the company car, only to realize that it was already gone. The police officer was gone as well. They were extremely confused, but presumed that the car had been moved to safety. They then decided to make a call to the Japan Trust Bank to find out what happened. The bank manager was the one who answered the call, and he was obviously alive and well. Also, his house was never blown up, and no one was hurt. While they were relieved, it slowly dawned on them. 300 million yen had just been stolen. Everyone then realized that this was exactly what the perpetrator was aiming for the moment he started sending those threatening letters to the bank manager. He had been setting this up for months. He sent the threats to make sure that everyone was on alert, and this caused the people who are aware of the situation to be always on the edge and suspicious. He then took advantage of it, pretended to be a police officer, fooled 4 unsuspecting bank employees, and took away the bonus payments of 523 Toshiba employees, amounting to 300 million yen, the exact amount he had asked for. After the incident, there were items left behind by the perpetrator, which included a warning flare that he most likely used to create smoke while under the car. There were 120 pieces of evidence left behind the crime scene. And with this amount, it should be beneficial, right? Wrong. This evidence was purposely left to mislead the investigation, and it worked. In the aftermath, the people from the Japan Trust Bank, the police, and the entire community realized that they had fallen victim to a meticulously planned crime. And with the amount of money that was stolen, it was obvious that a massive investigation will be conducted. From the recollection of eyewitnesses, a composite photo was released to the public. The vehicle that was bringing the money was also found, and the investigators were even investigating nearby apartments, just to find leads that will bring them to the culprit. There were early leads that showed promise, since the December 6th letter seemed to echo extortion attempts around Tama area. Experts deep dived into this and realized the possible connection between the Tama agricultural co-op extortion and this robbery. Aside from the flare, there were other physical evidences that included the Yamaha bike he used, a unique hunting hat, and a magnet. Saliva that was found on postage stamps also revealed that the perpetrator's blood type as B. All these leads yielded up to 110,000 suspects, involved 170,000 officers, and a cost of 900 million yen, which is triple the stolen amount. But despite the efforts, the investigation led to nowhere, unfortunately. The statute of limitations for this case also expired 7 years after it happened, which is December 10, 1975, which means the suspect who did this got away with stealing 300 million yen, or $26 million in today's time, scot-free. The 300 million yen robbery left a mark on Japanese society and has become ingrained in everyone's collective memory. It still sparks fascination and speculation among Japanese citizens and has seeped into popular culture with its countless retellings in films, books, and other media. Television and movie capitalized on the intrigue surrounding the incident, with dramatized versions providing different theories about the culprit's identity. Literature dared to delve into the mind of this elusive perpetrator and offered interesting accounts of who he really is and what made him do what he did. The cultural impact of this crime still serves as a testament to the power and the pull of a true crime narrative, as it continues to capture audiences and spark discussions even if decades have passed. In the end, the 300 million yen robbery proves that it is more than just a heist, but a story that captured the attention of millions and continues to baffle the minds of many. From the tense atmosphere that it started, to the realization that the perpetrator played everyone in the end, this crime continues to arouse intrigue and stays an enigma for the years to come. Do you have a theory or insight into this notorious case? Share it with us in the comments below. And don't forget to explore our channel for more riveting content on the greatest crimes and mysteries. Thank you for watching.